And we are live. Okay, so welcome to another episode of AI Clubhouse. My name is Ginger Bell. Can't even say my name today. And
Binger Gell.
Yeah,
I'm Binger Gell.
My name starts with an S, but I can't pronounce it right now either.
That's why we need AI, so it never makes a mistake.
Yeah,
right? Always says our names correctly.
That's
yeah,
right.
and yours goes in the chronological order of the alphabet, so it's.
I'm fortunate in that regard.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good. Well, Frank, we're glad to have you back joining us.
Well, I just, you know what? I tell you, because of you two and the things that are going on, like, with, animals in their CRM and MoveTube and just AI is just really taking the center stage for me lately, as far as just geek-noiding out on it and looking into it, and I've, now I'm subscribed on YouTube to a couple of, this guy, Mike Wolf or something like that, Scott. Yeah. There's this guy, Mike Wolf, on YouTube. He's just an absolute, just talk about nerding out on AI. This guy goes way deeper than any person should go, nerding out on AI. But the information that's coming to light is just, it's just amazing. I just don't know like last show, I don't know how to process all this stuff. It's
right.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And I think that's the number one thing is not to have it be all consuming and to figure out where it fits in your business and then how to really hone in on something. So, MoveTube, you guys have done a great job of incorporating the AI in there. And I know you're constantly adding things. And so that's a lot of it, is where does it make sense to add it? For a lot of our audience in the mortgage industry, I was actually reading, Fannie Mae just did a survey, and only 7% of mortgage companies have implemented something regarding
really. Scott, does that shock you?
No, adoption
doesn't?
No, adoption is very, very low amongst the general public. Most of the people that are playing with it are engineers and programmers right now. The public adoption's not very, there's not a lot of people using it. Like, we're talking about it, but I think that to the extent that most people will be exposed to it will be the equivalent of a as seen on TV sticker. It's going to say AI powered, right? It's going to be the same as seen on TV in the 90s. It's like everything is going to be AI powered. Everything is AI powered this, AI powered that. And so that's going to be most people's exposure.
Has anybody trademarked AI powered yet? Because that might be a wise thing to trademark, like right now.
Frank's gone. He's working on it.
Would have been a great thing to trademark before I said it.
Well, now we need to jump all over that and trademark that AI powered TM.
Everybody who's on this right now, it's like, okay, we're working.
I'm going to search for that right now.
We're going to take a 5-minute break.
Yeah, and we'll be right back. Okay.
Yes.
Everything is AI powered now. Hashtag AI powered. But I mean,
with a really cool little logo, it's AI powered and everybody could use it, but they just got to pay a royalty.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
There we go. We just made somebody on this thing rich. Who is it? I think it's Kelly Weston. I think Kelly Weston's already jumping into the trademark website and figuring that out.
Yeah, that's got to be something like that. So I think that's, we have some guests coming up. So a couple of things housekeeping things I want to talk about. Starting in March, we're going to get off of our Zoom call and we're going to go to streaming, and we'll be streaming through a platform that we've done before. Scott and I, when we started this podcast out, 3 years ago, before it was AI, and when we did started out as video, mortgage video mastermind, and then we went to mortgage influencers, and then with the AI, it's like, okay, we need to get the education out there about AI. So we're going to start doing that. So we'll be streaming. I'll send an email if you guys are on this Zoom call, or if you're watching us on our Facebook group. I'll be sending out how to do that. And it'll be a different link every week. I'll put it in the calendar too. But the reason we're doing that is a couple of things. First of all, we want to be able to stream to YouTube. and Zoom doesn't allow us to stream to multiple platforms. And so Zoom only allows us to choose one, which we've been doing on Facebook. And so we want to bring this information out more to the masses, because that's really why we're doing this, is to provide that information education. So that's the first thing. So I'll have information on that. The other thing is to share the group. You know, we're growing. Our Facebook group is growing, and so share us. It's AI Clubhouse on Facebook. And I did set up a group on LinkedIn, so we can do that as well. But the goal of this is to be able to have conversations and find out where your questions are. So in March, I have a couple of guests hopping on. We have Ken Perry, who is with the Knowledge Coop, and they've just integrated some AI tools into their knowledge base, their subscribers, and it is for underwriting. And so, Scott, you and I have talked about this before, about setting up a GPT that has the FHA guides, the VA guides. You can set it up with company guides. I just did a call with a mortgage company the other day. We're putting together an AI task force for them. And that's part of what you can do, is if you set up an enterprise with ChatGPT, you can upload all your guides, and then your LOs can put questions in there, and it'll read through the guides and tell you, you know, you can go on this program up to
What's
this.
that cost, guys, for the enterprise? What's that cost, Scott or Ginger? Do you know?
I want to say it's based on usage, because there's a couple of different options you have. If you have Plus, you can set up what's called teams. And the teams, it's $25 per user for a team. I have that for my company. So all of my staff has their own teams. And that way, when you have a GPT, then and it's going to go into, and you talked a little bit last week about agents, Scott, and I know that's the next thing that Chat is coming out with, is building those agents. And so with the GPTs, if you set up a GPT, and the idea of a GPT is it's your own customized agent. And so we have them set up for all of our clients. So it has all their NMLS licensing information. It has their website in there. It has disclosure information in there. So anytime we create a YouTube description or a podcast description, Frank, I can show you how to do it on yours. So every time you do your podcast, it already has all your information. I'm actually,
I do that. Yeah, I'm that far.
there you
But
go.
yeah, but the whole
Yeah.
notion of being able to, you know, get, because I'm very familiar with the, you know, also that you can upload documents and it can understand all that and all that kind of fun stuff. But the enterprise version would be very, very cool to, you know, be able to, I'm just not sure. I'd love to hear, Scott, your thoughts on that. Like, how could I make use of that, you know, like LO to realtor or LO to consumer, or
Yeah,
giving them
don't
access to something, or, you know, I don't.
I don't think you need it yet. The enterprise access is API access. So you need programmer intermediaries.
Mm,
What Ginger is describing as far as handbooks, training, underwriting guides, GPT will take that right now. So you just create a custom GPT, you upload I know for a fact that you can upload the Fannie Mae guidelines, because that's only 1,600 pages. And I just created a database GPT that I have 3,600 pages, 1,079,000 words in this custom GPT that's a knowledge base. And then you just share that link with whoever wants to use it.
But if you share that link, they have to have a paid GPT account, right?
Yes.
Correct.
They have to have the plus, the
They have to
4.
have plus, right?
The other thing that I found with that,
Let me ask you this, Ginger, and just a real quick thought, and Scott, like, if I had that though, could I put a link on my website that said ask a question here? But of course, it would stop them and said, well, you got to have the plus version of GPT. But if they did have the plus version, then they could access that and ask those questions. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
There are also platforms out there that you can put that you can put chatbots, like that's very, very close, that you can put chatbots that you can embed on your website, that you can feed them
And the
whatever.
chatbot can have all the information that needs.
But again, at that point,
I
you're
need
paying
that.
for the API. So you're not paying the $20 a month. You're picking up the cost of the API. API
And
is going into the chatbot and feeding
and then you're paying for usage there,
You're
Ginger.
paying
Is
for
that
it.
basically?
Yeah.
Any idea what that costs? I don't want to derail the conversation. Sorry. I'm like, I want this. What does it cost? You know,
I want to say GPT-4 Turbo, which is the API, isn't it like 7/100 of a cent per
Yeah,
connection?
it's based on usage. And so
Yeah.
I haven't tested it out enough, Frank, to tell you what that means dollar wise per month.
yeah.
And what's interesting too, we're starting to play around with some Zapier integrations into chat. And so you can actually set up, in fact, Scott, I'd love to hop on a call with you
Yeah.
because we have, for our clients, we do where they have a landing page and then they, fill in their information and they get the free, buying your first home guide. And so I was actually watching a channel on a guy that does a ton with Zapier. I can't remember his name, but way smarter than I am. But he went through how you can set up a funnel through something like ClickFunnels and have a question. And then based on those questions, you do a Zapier link to ChatGPT, and Chat will actually generate a customized answer back to that individual based on those questions. So, for example, if you wanted to do a lead funnel that would be, something like, what you did a long time, Scott, with your Find My Way Home, to where they would ask, have you ever owned a home? Do you currently rent? How much do you have saved for a down payment? And so based on those questions, then that goes into ChatGPT. ChatGPT, you set up I got
GPT.
it. So this is what happens is like you have so much
Too many
information
acronyms.
going on. It's like, yeah. And so then that will go through, and based on how those questions are answered, then it will generate a customized response to that individual. And it's all done through this back and forth.
And it's a
Yeah.
Zapier integration then.
It's a Zapier integration.
And
To the API. So
to the API.
yeah.
So you
Yeah.
still have the API component.
Always, yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the things. And when we have Ken on, obviously that's what they've done with they've customized GPTs. The one thing I will tell you with the GPTs, and Scott, I'd love to hear what you say, when we set up a GPT and you go to share that with someone else. So like we set up GPTs for our clients, and a lot of our clients are like, hey, I want to use this in my chat. So we share that. But the challenge is they can't go in and customize it.
Right.
So the owner of the GPT is the only person who can actually customize it. And so what we're doing right now is we've actually, and I'm doing a webinar next week. I'll drop it into our group and I'll send it out to everyone if you want to register for the webinar. We actually have an entire process. And again, Scott, I'd love to go through this with you. But we have all the steps to create the custom GPT. And what we've created is a form. So you input, answer all the questions. And then we take that form as we're setting up the GPT. And then it actually will self-generate its own GPT. So you get the GPT to generate the GPT. And then based on that, and we do it for a lot of our new clients. So it'll set up your YouTube channel. It'll set up your podcast. It'll set up the prompt. So we've set it up to where it's like, give me my weekly prompt. And so it will extract all the information that I put into that GPT. It'll write the weekly prompt for me. And so all I have to do is go in and click that one prompt. And like for a podcast, for example, you set up the prompt, and then all you have to do is put in the guest name, their company, their web address, and that's it. And then based on how it's set up, it will generate your podcast description. You're happy with that? you type in next, and then it'll generate your social media posts. Now, the next step I want to get to with this is you can have through a Zapier, so through an API integration, where it'll then post that information onto your YouTube channel and onto your social media platform. So that's where all of this is going to. The challenge is getting it all set up. And so, I have a ChatGPT course, which is an online course, goes from I don't know how to log in all the way through setting up your prompts, setting up your GPTs. And so what we're doing with that is if someone gets the ChatGPT course, we will actually set up a call with them and set up their GPT with them. And
Really?
go through those steps.
Wow.
Because once you have your GPT set up and you have your primary, then you can start looking at all these other GPTs. So you can have, and this gets into a much bigger level than most loan officers really need to get into. But Scott, you talked about this last week where you have, your project manager GPT, who basically is in essence in charge of all the other GPTs.
This is just tripping me out.
And now they can communicate with each other. Yeah, it's crazy. And don't even get started on
to get this going. Because this could be so helpful to me. How much is the I'm just curious, Ginger, how much is your
so the online course
where you help people get it all set up? How much is the whole the big deal?
It's $297
a month?
No, it's $297.
Right.
I mean,
send me a link.
It's an online course.
Send me the link.
And we have a process we go through. We'll set up your GPT for you, and that's it. So
because I've got some knowledge with setting up GPTs, and I've got a handful of them set up for different purposes. But I think if I worked with you two and just kind of show you this is what I'm doing, right, and how I'm using it, and then maybe you guys could help me, like, oh, dude, you could do this so much easier, or do whatever. Yeah. I would like to do that, so I'm going to reach out to you for that.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get it set up for you. I mean, there's so many things you can do.
Yeah.
And Scott, I know you've got your series going.
Oh, you got a series, Scott?
I'm doing a series of classes for Perry Marshall's audience right now. It was 4 classes over 4 weeks. The last one is tomorrow.
Do you have your content written for it yet?
I finished it yesterday. Yes, that's about when I finish it. I'm usually pretty happy with it on Tuesday, deliver on Thursday.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah. And so I decided to do same thing. It's like I'm doing a webinar next week. It's free. And I think I have it set up. I'll have to look up. You guys talk and I'll look up which website I have it set up.
Okay. So Scott, I would love to hear anything from you right now about anything we should be thinking about right now, or what you think is the hot thing, or what you got your finger on the pulse of, or what you got going on in your world.
Well, the conversation that I keep having with people is I keep hearing people saying, I need to integrate AI into my business.
Yeah.
But AI isn't an answer, it's an assistant. And it's not a destination, it's a journey. It's just like electricity. So it's just a power source. You have to already have the thing that you plug into AI, right? So what Ginger is talking about, doing a podcast, you have to already have a podcast. Like this isn't going to magically give you a podcast.
Right.
You still have to be disciplined to have a podcast, put it out. AI just helps make some parts of the workflow easier. That's it. It doesn't do anything for you. It just assists you, and it makes what you do more efficient. So the conversations I keep having is people having this perceived solution and they're looking for a problem to assign it to. And what I'm trying to get them to do is I'm trying to get them to think and look at your existing workflows. And a GPT is perfect for any repetitive workflow that doesn't require specialized knowledge or experience. So for instance, creating like you do your podcast and then you want to turn that into a blog post and you want to turn that into social media. So that's a thing that you would normally have to do manually. but you still have to do the podcast first in
Mm,
order to have the source content to do all that other stuff.
mm,
So I encourage people to not think about how AI is going to change their business, but think about how you can make what you're currently doing more efficient.
mm,
How you can save time, save money, and maybe just get a little bit more organized.
mm,
And that's the way I'm encouraging people to think about it. Look at what you're already doing and then figure out how to make it a little bit easier. And kind of the thing that I'm going through is this exercise where you get together with your team and have your team figure out which processes do they do on a daily basis that they think that AI might be able to take over.
mm,
And then you create the AI to do that repetitive task and just train them how to manage the AI.
mm.
Yep.
And then that frees up all of that time. And not only does it free up time, is it creates this consistency of output. What is oh, why
We're
am I
all having
blanking
it
our
today.
brilliant friends? Our brilliant friend's name, Sweat, same way every time, right? That's really what
Oh,
we're
yeah.
talking
Steve
about.
Kyles.
Yeah. What we're talking about is taking these things and creating consistent outputs with just putting it in pushing the on button, getting the output, and then doing what you need to do with it.
Mm.
Yep. And that's it.
Yeah, it's so neat. I think everybody should just. I mean, the 297 for the that's just a no
No
brainer.
brainer.
I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be like $4,000 or something.
So the class
And
is online and you can take it on at your own time. And but the GPT, we added that because that can help you take what you're learning in the class and then start implementing it in with your business. And for loan officers, the number one thing to use ChatGPT for right now is, as Scott said, the repetitive actions. And a lot of that is your marketing. So things that you're doing, whether you're posting something out on social media. The nice thing too, if you have a VA who's doing your social, then you set up the GPT for them. And then you honestly can come up with, and chat will help you come up with all of your topics. You can go in and generate the pictures. So Dolly will allow you to generate the pictures. And so you could have an entire month. I just did this to a client yesterday to where it's like, okay, we're going to set up everything you need for the month. And we're working on a reverse mortgage book for him right now. And so here's everything you're going to do in your launch. Here's everything you're going to do in your social. So everything's all laid out. And then chat will generate the posts for that. Now, through this API integration, then you can take it the next if you want to put it onto social. Otherwise, if you don't want to do that, then you can just, you have the plan for the month. That's what chat does that makes it so much easier. So for those that are doing something on social all the time, whether it's, your social media posts, whether it's your videos, whether it's your podcasts, whether it's events, it's like there's, a lot of people are doing events right now. And so it's like, put your events in there, use all of that to generate your content, create your content for your newsletters. And you want to think about all of those different prongs you need for marketing. So you have one podcast that you're doing. So it's not just putting it onto YouTube and onto the channels, but posting it out to your social media, turning it into a blog post, sharing it on your website. It can generate all of that. And so that's the thing right now. If somebody wants to get started using AI, that's the best place to start as a loan officer, as a real estate agent, and to streamline some of those. Where companies come in, that's when you get into the uploading the guides to where a loan officer can, search through the guides. Down the road, we'll probably have, in underwriting, it's going to be a long time before, and I mean, I say that very loosely because everything has been happening so fast, but
It's relative.
it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, it could be next week. But I mean, even the videos, I mean, we've seen with what Chat has come out with their video, which is not live to the public right now under Sora, but there are things that you can generate. Here's what I see about with AI though. There's a lot of buzz right now. Find one simple way to use it. ChatGPT is the easiest way right now to use it in your business and start learning there. And
Yep.
then you can start adding other things like, in video, which we talked about before. And I've done some videos on using in video, which is AI will honestly generate a video for you. I had put in a prompt to make a video for someone wanting to move to Portland, Oregon. And it literally, we talked about this, pulled in all the videos from Portland, Oregon. It had, the Portland sign, it had all those things in there. So there's a lot of other areas you can use it, but just start embracing it. The other thing I see with these generated videos, I think they're fun to get into, but I think you need to remember it is always about relationships. It is always about you being seen. And so it's not a replacement for that. And I don't want people to have it be a replacement for that. I want it to be able to use tools like what you have with MoveTube, where they can put their voice in there, right? So that's that personal.
Yeah.
And, I know you talked about adding some videos in there that, will eventually come. So those are the kind of things with AI. Don't shy away from it, but also don't get overwhelmed by it.
What I see too is if as an originator you do take the time to learn this and try and figure out how you can, because this is what I do want to talk to both of you about this offline, because I have an idea. Or actually, just like you said, Scott, I'm doing something, right? And it's taking me a lot of moving parts. I'm using AI with it, right? But there's a lot of moving parts. But based on what you guys are saying, I might be able to just go, here's the link, give me what I want, or here's the 4 links. You know what to do with them, AI. Now give me what I want. It might just be able to go, blah, there it is.
Yeah.
And instead of me doing all the 4 steps,
Yeah.
But what I could see an originator using this for, because this is how I see myself using it, right? For real estate partners, is being able to go out there and say something like, that's your super cool listing. No problem. I'm going to produce this, and this for that listing. No problem. I just want to build a relationship with you, and get to know you and that kind of a thing. And if I could take the link to that thing and drop it into the machine and it produces those really cool things, then I, as a loan officer, I'm bringing AI to my partners, right? I'll even tell them, I have an AI machine that does this for you, right? I took the time to put it together. This is what it produces. I'd love to work with you. Let's give it a try. I've got here. I'm going to put the link to your listing into this machine, and there you go. That's what you get. Let's be friends, and let's get to know each other. And that way I'm, as a loan officer, bringing this to them, and they go, okay, Frank's got this thing, this, even if they don't get into it fully or whatever, they know Frank at least has something that helps me in this way, making use of that powered by AI trademark, you know what I mean? And so I think that would be very useful. I mean, that's the path I want to go down with it right now is bringing it to the agent.
Yes.
In a useful way that actually produces something that they can go, awesome, that's great. And they didn't have to worry about building it or putting it together or anything.
Yeah. No, I have a loan officer that I'm working with right now, and we built a suite of GPTs, mostly converting content creating, right? So either put in a transcript or find an article or something like that, and it creates a suite. So I built these things for him, and he used it to demo it in front of a bunch of real estate agent partners. They were completely floored, and he was just laughing. He was like, I don't know what this thing is. I don't know what it does, but I showed it off and they were blown away and they want to know more about it. Like they want to work with me, right? It's like, you don't have to. So that's one of the things when you learn this, it's really it's not complicated. That in terms of new technology and it being accessible to most people, this is one of the most accessible technologies that I've ever seen. You just got to get in there and learn the language and do your reps. And right now, the thing that I think prevents most people from diving into it is fear, or feeling like it's more than it is, or being overwhelmed by it. Slow down, start with your toe, start with obscenely low 297 investment to get up to,
Yeah.
to go from 0 to 1. And then that's what I'm telling everybody is this stuff evolves so quickly. Just wrap your head around it and pay attention. Get yourself a seat on the sidelines and start watching it and paying attention to it, because it is going to be an important part of everything that you do moving forward. It's going to be a part of everything moving forward. So
Yeah, whether you like it or not, it's a part of everything moving
Yeah.
forward. It really is.
you
So,
don't have to learn it, just don't ignore it. Just
mm,
don't ignore it. Just pay attention to it and understand it, and make these small investments when they become available, because Ginger is not going to be only charging less than $300 for services in 6 months from now. I'm telling you right now, she's so far ahead of the curve on this. Take advantage of these things and ride these waves with the early adopters, the smart people like Ginger and you guys, that, stay, be part of this group. That's what we're doing. That's why I'm excited about us doing the live stream. This conversation is the single most important thing you could be doing right now.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep.
This AI thing is crazy, and it's cool. And I personally, I know there's a lot of fear behind it, and a lot of people are worried about, Tesla robots are going to kill us all and take over the world. But personally, I'm just super excited about. I want to see AGI. I want to see ASI. You know what I mean? And or is that what it is? ASI? I can't remember what the second one is. I know there's AGI, and then there's I think it's SI, right?
Super intelligence, yeah.
Super
Yeah.
intelligence,
Artificial
yeah.
super intelligence.
I want to see it. I'm very curious to see where it goes. And
You'll see AGI before the end of the year. That's a prediction that I keep
really,
making in all my classes.
because I'm seeing people saying 2030. You know what I mean?
Well, you have to define AGI.
But,
So I think AGI, I think the very first instant is AGI we're going to see, it's going to eliminate the need for prompting. So it's going to know how to tell itself what to do, what you're telling it to do. We're not going to have to know how to prompt engineer anymore, but it's not going to be sentient.
I get
don't
it. I
expect
get it.
Don't
I
expect
don't think
it
it'll
to,
ever
like,
get
be able to
there.
think for itself, but
I don't
it will get to
yeah.
the point where it can understand you and you don't have to know how to structure the prompt.
That's almost going to be like, remember when computers first came out, we had DOS and there was a C prompt and you had to kind of prompt it to do things. That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Right. With AI, but soon
analogy.
it'll be like, like a Mac or something. You just click the icon and off you go, or whatever.
Yeah. It's just cool. It's happening in our time. So I think that's what's so
It's
exciting.
really neat.
Is
It's
all
really,
of this
really
is
neat.
happening right now. And so we're beyond the top of the hour,
Yes.
which we could carry
we
on
better
for
go.
a little bit
Yeah, we
longer.
better go.
So we'll hop off. So next week we're going to start with the StreamYard. Look for those guys. I'm going to send you an email with the link. So for those of you who are joining us by Zoom, thank you for doing that. We are going to switch over to the StreamYard and then watch.
So we're going to lose you all temporarily,
but we'll get you back.
But we hope to get you back. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. And Frank, if you're around tomorrow, I'm booked the rest of the day today, but if you're around tomorrow, let's hop on a call and I'll help you get your set up.
Indeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We will see you next week.
Adios.
See you guys.
Bye.